Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Emily and I post a ton of bookish content on here. And if you are not new here, hello, welcome back. Happy to have you. So we are wrapping up April with this April wrap up and May TBR. If you guys are new here, I do tend to combine my, month prior wrap up with my month coming TBR, just because I don't tend to read like 20 books per month or anything like that. So this is like a nice combination, a good balance, and it makes the videos, long enough to be entertaining for you guys. So that is what today's video is going to be. Just going to be sharing every book that I read in April, as well as every book that I plan on reading in May. So we are going to go in order with what I read at the very beginning of April, and that is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. Guys, I finally did it. I finally read this book, and honestly, it didn't disappoint. I actually really did enjoy it. I gave it a 3.5 out of 5. The reason I didn't give it a full 4 is because I felt like I was more invested in the beautiful writing than I was in the actual characters and their development and the build-up and all those things. Like, I just really loved the writing, and the plot was kind of secondary for me. That being said, though, like I said, it was still really good. I didn't find it boring like a lot of people said it was. While it is like relatively long, it's really not that bad. I really enjoyed it. It did feel like I was reading different short stories from different people's lives, just because, if you are not aware, this book follows a girl named Addie LaRue through centuries of her life because she makes a deal with a dark god, I believe, or a demon or something like that. Basically letting her live forever as an immortal, but in return, no one remembers her ever. If she leaves a room, everyone in that room never remembers her. But there is sort of like this plot twist, I suppose, where one specific person does, and it explains why they remember her, or like why they can remember her. And yeah, it's definitely interesting. I wasn't the biggest fan of the ending, honestly, so I think 3.5 was like the perfect rating for this book. If you know me, I don't really give 5s unless the book is just like all around perfect, my everything. But this one just wasn't that for me, and if I was more invested in the people in the book, I probably would have given it a 4 out of 5, but nonetheless, I still really liked it. The next book that I read is actually Lost in the Plot's book club pick for April, and that was Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren. Oh my god. So this I did rate a 4 out of 5. There are no words for this book. Please go read this. It was my first Christina Lauren, and it did not disappoint once again. This is a childhood friends to lovers book where they essentially go 11 years without talking, and throughout the entire book you have no idea why. And then he comes back into her life, she's in a new relationship, there's a bunch of different things throughout it that happen, and you kind of get the then and the now from like 10 years prior, and it's a very beautiful love story. Highly recommend it. The writing is beautiful, but it's also easily like accessible to a ton of different readers. I definitely told people in the book club that while there was definitely smut in this book, I found it almost read like a YA, which was kind of refreshing. So yeah, 4 out of 5, highly recommend. A lot of the people in the book club gave this a 4 out of 5 or a 5 out of 5, so if that says something, go pick it up. Or you could even just go onto Goodreads and you'll just see how loved this book is, because it was... The next book on the list is a little bit of a disappointment, I must say. It was One Italian Summer by Rebecca Searle, and while no matter what, I love Rebecca. I think that she's overall just a really great author, great person. She replies to like her fans and all of that. I think that she's great. She actually sent us a video for our first month of the book club while we read In 5 Years, and like no author thus far has done that so far for such a small book club, so I really did appreciate that from her. But unfortunately, this just did not live up to my expectation. I gave it a 3 out of 5 still. Borderline, I would say this is like a 2.5, 2.75 for me. The only thing I liked in this book was the setting. The story or plotline of this book is basically this best friend duo who is Katie and Carol, a mom and daughter, plan this trip out to a place that Katie's mom went to years and years ago prior to Katie being born. I believe the village is called Positano or something like that in Italy. And then the mom suddenly passes away due to an illness. So she decides to go on this trip by herself, get some clarity. And while there is magical realism in here, and I think that might help give excuse to certain decisions Katie made while she was on her trip, it still didn't really make me feel that comfortable. And yeah, overall, I just really, unfortunately, wasn't impressed. Didn't like the main characters. I actually liked the male main characters more than Katie and Carol, and just a lot of the decisions in the book didn't really make me feel comfortable. So unfortunately, it was a disappointment. But do I recommend it? I mean, I feel like it's a good short read, and some people might enjoy it more than I did. I just took certain things maybe too seriously. I don't know. But regardless, it wasn't for me. And will I be picking up more Rebecca Searle? Of course. But this one just was not it. And the last book that I read in April is a little bit of a different take, if you will, and that is a thriller called The Push by Ashley Audrain. I did actually buddy read this and One Italian Summer with a few of my friends. So I did buddy read One Italian Summer with my friend Sydney Page Books on YouTube and Instagram, as well as my friend, that unknown blogger named Inna, and we kind of just like discussed it, what we liked, what we didn't like. And then for The Push, I did buddy read this with my friend Dallas, and we had pretty similar views on this one. I wouldn't say it disappointed me by any means. I think it was actually a very intense, good thriller, but I did still rate this a 3 out of 5 just because the ending wasn't really, it really let me down, the ending. But if you're not aware of what this book is about, we follow the main character, Blythe, who is married and they decide to start a family. They have a daughter, and for some reason, Blythe just does not feel connected to her daughter whatsoever. The husband thinks that it's just all in her head. He doesn't believe her. He thinks that she just needs to try harder with their relationship. All of these things that make Blythe really struggle with whether or not it's all in her head or if there really is something wrong with her daughter, Violet. When they have a son, like 2 years later or something like that, she actually feels super connected to him. His name is Sam. And that kind of confirms for her that there is definitely something going on with her daughter or just the relationship in general. And when this huge, major, life-altering thing happens to their family, it kind of makes the whole thing crumble. And this book, in like the last quarter, took a turn that I wasn't expecting and really disappointed me, honestly, especially the very ending. Like, I kind of expected it, and yeah. So while I'm not, you know, disappointed in the entire book, I still thought it was really scary, really creepy to think about, you know, being a mother in this situation. It just didn't really live up to what I was hoping it would be. That said, I do think it's really cool that the author, Ashley Audrain, is actually from Toronto, which is really close to me, and this is her first novel. So I will say, bravo on your first novel, because it was actually very well done. The writing was really, really good. It was different than what I was used to. It was more like blunt and to the point, but I actually really enjoyed that for a thriller. So while I didn't give it a 4 out of 5, I still would really recommend this book. Please go check it out. It's great. So those were all the books that I read in April, and now we're going to be talking about the 4 books that I plan on reading in May. Unfortunately, I only have one in a physical copy, but we're going to go in order of what I plan on reading them. As of right now, it is May 3rd, so I have actually started reading Book Lovers by Emily Henry. This book did come out today. I had an ARC from NetGalley for 2 of these books, I'm pretty sure, so I've already had them. I just never really got around to them. But I started this book a few days ago. I'm like 10% of the way through, and I am very, very much so enjoying it so far. I was definitely expecting it to be very humorous because I follow Emily Henry, and she's actually she's so cute, but she's also pretty funny on her social media. So far I've been really, really enjoying this book, and I can't wait to see what I think at the end. Can't wait to see if, you know, it blows my mind or doesn't exceed my expectations. I have no idea yet, but as of right now, it's very enjoyable, and that is my first read for May. The next read for May is actually my Lost in the Plot book club pick, which we decided to vote on a few classics this month, and the one that won was The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. So it's kind of You can see my ring light, hello. But this is the Collins oh my god, I can't talk. This is the Collins Classic version, and as you can see, it's a very, very thin book. So while I only have 4 books on my list, I could definitely see myself getting to one more if I continue reading the way I am. But yeah, if you're not aware of what this is about, I will honestly tell you, I don't know either. I've never read any of the versions, I've never watched the movie, and I kind of want to keep it that way for the book club. I just want to see how I feel about it with no prior information, so I'm not going to be saying much. But if you want to read this for the book club with us, please feel free to check out the link in my description. I always have like a link for you to join the book club if you'd like. But yeah, this is May's pick for Lost in the Plot book club. The next book, honestly, I'm kind of like not sure which one I want to read, but for right now, I have the next book actually being a thriller, and it is on my Kindle once again. That is The Perfect Marriage by Geneva Rose. I don't have any information on this book other than it follows a couple where a woman dies, and I guess it ends up being the husband's mistress, and the wife is a lawyer, and it's like following the wife basically defending her husband on the murder of a other woman. It seems very interesting to me. I've heard a lot of backlash from this, but I am like a huge fan of Geneva Rose in general, so I really wanted to give it a shot. I will speed through reading the synopsis for you. It says,
would you defend your husband if he was accused of killing his mistress? Sarah Morgan is a successful and powerful defense attorney in Washington, D.C. At 33 years old, she is named partner at her firm, and life is going exactly how she planned. The same cannot be said for her husband, Adam. He is a struggling writer who has had little success in his career. He begins to tire of his and Sarah's relationship as she is constantly working. Out in the secluded woods at Adam and Sarah's second home, Adam engages in a passionate affair with Kelly Summers. Then, one morning, everything changes. Adam is arrested for Kelly's murder. She had been found stabbed to death in Adam and Sarah's second home. Sarah soon finds herself playing the defender for her own husband, a man accused of murdering his mistress. But is Adam guilty, or is he innocent?
So it's interesting because there's almost like a cheating trope in there, but then the wife has to decide if she really does believe her husband for not doing it. I'm gonna take a guess right now and say he didn't do it, but regardless, I feel like there's going to be a lot of unlikable characters in this book, and I'm usually a big fan of any sort of like mystery tied in with the thriller, as well as the like domestic thriller aspect, so hopefully I enjoy it. And the last book that I plan on reading in May is another new one. Super excited for this, if you can't tell by the smile on my face. That is Set on You by Amy Lee. This is her debut book, I'm pretty sure, and she's like a year or two older than me. It's actually crazy to think about. I aspire to write a book one day, so like this is very cool to me. But she did write Set on You, and it is basically a weightlifting romance. So our main character, Crystal, is like a curvy influencer, which we love because, I mean, yeah. And then this new guy named Scott, I believe, comes to the gym, and they end up becoming each other's gym nemesis. So I don't really know much of what happens. I think there's like a fake dating trope in here, and as well, because she's an influencer, there's like social media aspects that kind of go off the rails, and they have to kind of like recover their status. I don't really know, but nonetheless, very excited. I also heard that Scott is kind of based off of Chris Evans, who plays Captain America, so I feel like a lot of us think he's a good-looking dude, and I feel like it's nice when you can kind of envision the character in real life too. So it's cool that the author actually mentioned that in a video or something once, being like, yeah, I kind of based him off him because he's fit and whatever. But yeah, that is the last book I plan on reading in May, and it is, like I said, a weightlifting romance, so it should be quite interesting, definitely different from anything I've ever read. And once again, it did release today, May 3rd, so very excited to read that one as well. That is everything. I honestly don't have a book kind of lined up as a 5th one. I'm gonna just go with it, and you know, hopefully I end up reading an extra one because we will be moving in June, and I have a feeling I'm not going to be reading as many books, but we shall see. So that is it for this April wrap-up and May TBR. I hope you guys enjoyed watching, and just keep an eye out for moving vlogs and next month's wrap-up and all of the other things. I feel like I have a lot of really great ideas to make for videos as well as other content too. Shameless plug, I did make a book talk, so you should definitely go check that out if you haven't already. Be sure to subscribe if you want to see more from me. Don't forget to like this video if you like my wrap-ups, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!